Hello. Hello. If you, I want to check that people is listening to us. So if you are watching right now and you can tell me if you listened, if you can hear me, that will be wonderful. Let's see. Ta, 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 ta. Let's find here. It's always tricky. Okay, let's this is always okay. If you are watching right now and you can hear me, please say type Y for yes, I can hear you. Yes. Okay, let's start. Okay, it's okay. Let's start. Hello, my name. Well, thank you so much for being here and for watching. If you are watching this, probably you are watching the replay. So thank you so much for that. Please say hello in the comments. Tell us where you are watching from. My name is Saras Feijóo, and I am the Artistic Director of Clown Stepping and the first Edinburgh Contemporary Clown Festival that's going to take place from 28th of April until the 5th of May 2018. So put on your diaries and take days of your work. Today in our live chatter session, we are hosting amazing Simon Thompson. It's Thompson or Thompson? Oh, I cannot hear you.
I'm only joking.
Okay. Oh my God. Oh, that's a good start. Okay. Oh my God. I thought, what? It's Thompson.
Thompson, yeah.
Thompson. Okay. So Simon is a clown, bouffon, and teacher. He trained with Lecoq and Gaulier and has worked in circus, theater, and spectacle events for the last 35 years. In 2014, 2015, and 2016, he toured internationally with the Clown Noir trilogy, a series of 3 one-hour clown theater shows. He's also guest lecturer at University of Limerick on the MA Festive Arts, and he is also a PhD candidate at the Irish World Academy researching creative pedagogies. Oof, yeah, I'm sorry about that. Pedagogies? I'm sorry about my accent. Pedagogies through mask and clown. So, hello, Simon. How are you?
I'm great, Saras. How are you?
I'm okay. Simon was telling me just before we start that it's snowing where you are in Limerick. Yes?
Yeah, we had a bit of snow in Limerick today, which is a change for Ireland. We don't tend to get much snow.
Ah, okay. Okay. Well, I'm glad that you are here. Oh, let me check something to see. Okay, yes, they can hear you. Oh, perfect. So today we were, Simon and I were saying that we want to talk about how through play the clowns encounter failure. Can you tell the people that are seeing us, are watching us, more about this?
Yeah, I suppose for me, as a clown and as a teacher, I really focus quite heavily on the two aspects of play and failure. And for me, if you get into this vein of play, if you really start to play and you start to play unconsciously without this pre-thought, so you're doing it very innocently, you're doing it in a naive, you're doing it in a spontaneous, almost organic way.
Yes.
It's pretty certain that somewhere along the lines, things are going to go wrong. Because that's what happens when you play. Things go wrong, and it's not so much is it a failure, it's more of an impulse to do something different.
Yes, exactly.
And to find a new game or to play the game differently. So yeah, I use the word failure because a lot of people are frightened of failure. And I think if you can sort of embrace it and not fear when things go wrong, just say, well, it's happened, and what do we need to do to get things back on track? Or what do we need to do to get things exciting again? Or
exactly.
Playful. Then people will play even more.
Yes.
And it allows the clown to flourish and blossom for me.
But also, yes, I totally follow you. But also, it's funny because failure, it's like a concept according to our society. No, this is success, this is failure. Whether when you are working, when you are playing, as you said, organically, it's more like when we fail, it's the mind not being playing organically somehow.
Yeah, it's almost as if I've thought of an objective and I haven't met my objective.
Yes.
How I often explain it to academics is because they go, oh, we can't fail. No, we must, But think about it in terms of science and experiments. When scientists are in a lab doing an experiment, it's usually when the experiment fails or gives you a different set of results that it opens a new line of questioning or new line of research.
Exactly.
So if we want to validate what we're trying to say in an academic way, it's okay to fail because it opens up new questioning.
Yes.
And for a clown, it does exactly the same thing. Opens up new avenues of play, new areas of engagement with an audience,
Yes. So basically, what contemporary clown? I use contemporary clown. I use contemporary to kind of for people to understand that we are not talking about the scary clowns or the killing clowns. It's an art, no? It's a theater art. So what contemporary clowns do, it take us back to this innocent space, isn't it? Where we are there, we are playing, there are no expectations. And it's about exploring new avenues to do things because it will take us to new levels, no? Somehow.
New levels of engagement.
Yes.
And that's where, just to go back on those words of clown and clowning, I think they're really important. And as well as the idea of contemporary clown, clown that's changing, clown that's evolving. It has a tradition, it is rooted in the past, but it's constantly evolving. And I find the word clown can sometimes restrict us because it's a name. Yes. And everyone hangs things on it and says, oh, it's a guy with silly shoes, it's a guy with a red nose, it's the killer clown, it's the scary clown, it's all these things. But clown is just this huge beast with so many sides and so many angles that I actually prefer the word clowning. So I'm an artist or a performer who clowns or carries out the act of clowning.
Okay, yes.
And I think that helps us when we're looking at contemporary clown, is that it can sometimes be a theatre piece, it can be street entertainment, it can be part of another spectacle event, it could even be part of a traditional circus show. But we're looking at this real humanistic element, this engagement with an audience, this sharing of ourselves and everything that's vulnerable and standing there in our nakedness in front of everyone.
Yes.
And that is clowning as opposed to I am a clown.
Okay. Oh, thank you. That's good. I think you have explained it so beautifully. Because it's more like it's this state of being. It's what clowning is. And it's not just about being in the theater doing this art. It's about you can do it anywhere where you want because it's this state of being within yourself, no? It's lifestyle.
Yeah, I mean, very much so. You know, if we can embrace what we do as artists and bring it into society, wow, we'd be a far better place. You know, the caring, the sharing, the openness.
Yes, exactly. The fun. Yes.
Yeah.
And the innocence, and also the expectations we have towards ourselves and towards others also.
That's it, yeah. Our desire to please others as clowns and to want them, but almost need them to love us and to feel exactly what we're feeling, to share everything from the sadness, the delights, the anger, the frustration. And I suppose the difference between day-to-day life and the clown life is a clown, it's very of the moment. I'm angry and frustrated at this one element of failure, but then it's gone and I'm back to playing.
Yes.
Whereas in real life, we might be angry that the car has a punctured tyre for 2 hours, you know, but a clown would just see it as, well, I have to do something else. And the game of changing the tyre becomes light-hearted and playful.
Exactly.
So, yeah, a great metaphor for life.
Yes, it's true. So let's come back to what we were saying. How, so you were saying that the clown encounters failures through playing, yes, in an organic way, and that things go wrong, but then that's the way to find something new. So talk to us about the logic of a clown and how it's individual for each of us.
Yeah, I mean, it is individual, so that logic process for each clown is very much unique to them. But what I often like to refer to clowns is as almost problem solvers. So, you know, their time in front of an audience is a series of problems that they must overcome. And they find a solution to the problem or the failure in a clown way. They don't look at it black and white and go, oh, right, there's a chair, I must sit on it, you know, because that just becomes boring. That's a person doing person things on stage, you know. So the clown finds different, almost maybe even the wrong way to do things as what people perceive them as. But by doing them a wrong way or doing them a different way, it creates another problem, which now becomes the next game, which we try and solve in our clown way. And eventually, through that journey on in front of an audience, at the end, we have this big blow-off kind of moment, which is the success. We've gained their empathy through our failure and our struggles. And I think it's also important to say that those empathy and struggles, those struggles and failures, shouldn't be relatable to the audience. They shouldn't be so fantastical that the audience are sat there going, what's going on?
Yes.
There should be a moment where they go, that's almost happened to me.
Yes.
But I solved it in this way. Why is this clown solving it in the most random and obtuse way?
Yes.
And that's what makes people laugh. The commonality between a clown's failure and society's failure is where we get the empathy and we get the buy-in of the audience to believe what we're doing. And then it's through our struggle to find a solution that they fall in love with us, hopefully, and start to laugh and support us and join us on the journey.
But also, yes, it's so beautiful. You are, I feel like, yes. But also it's through all this journey that you are describing, and by sharing this, what you said before, humanistic point to the audience, that the audience feels, oh, that this could be me as well. I feel reflected on the struggle of this performer, even if my struggles were different, I still can feel the suffering or the pain or the success when it comes.
Yeah.
And that's what, and that's also why they love us clowns.
Yeah. I think the risk is if you don't have that common ground, that you become almost a cartoon of yourself.
Yes.
And yes, they laugh when you fall over or you drop something, but it's not a laugh that's really shared. There's no shared experience between the audience as a whole with each other, and then as the audience with the clown. You know, what I want the audience to feel is my emotional journey that I'm going through. So if I fall in love with someone in the audience and it's so over the top, I want someone else to go, you know, I actually fell in love like that once as well. And, you know, feel that. If they experience me experiencing loss, maybe someone moving away or someone passing away or anything, I want that, even though I'm exaggerated doing it, and I want them to feel my pain.
Yes.
And also me to get that back from them, that they understand it and they know where I'm coming from. And there is this common, almost telepathic language that's going on between our eyes.
Yes.
You know, and I think.
But also, just one moment, but also because when you said just before, you said that you want them to feel your pain, it's not that they feel, and I think this is important to say, it's not that they feel the heaviness of the pain. It's more like they can relate to this feeling from a human level. And that's why you can take them in this emotional journey with you.
Yes, yeah, exactly. It is on the human level.
Yes.
We're not trying to portray our actions on stage in the same way an actor would try to portray the loss of another character.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
What we're trying to do is connect at that deeply human level, which is so much more. And that's the exciting part for me, is when I finish a show and an audience is still sat there. And 10 minutes later, they're still sat there. And they're talking to each other, and you know, or they say things like, "Oh, I didn't think it was going to be over so quick," and then they look at the watch and it was an hour.
Yes.
And it's because we've got into and we've made a human connection with them. We've shared a moment together, and it's a moment, maybe 50 minutes, maybe 40 minutes, of a mixture of madness, anger, stupidity. Everything all in an hour. So it should be a roller coaster for an audience, but it isn't, because there's this common ground all the time of humanity for me. It's
a safe roller coaster.
Yeah, because they're watching the disaster unfold in front of them, and yes, they pick up on moments of it. It's not. And they know it's not real as well. I think that is, they know it's an exaggeration. They know it's a reflection of society. They know it isn't someone trying to actually portray real life. But they're aware that this clown might be suffering or might be struggling or might be, you know. But there's that disconnect that it doesn't feel like it's
so real. Because also what I experience is that it comes from the game. It's real, it's honest. The clown is there being vulnerable and showing their heart completely. But because it comes from a game space, the emotions can somehow, they are distant. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'm making sense. For example, what you were saying about the actor, it's more like, I am so dramatic, no? Whether with the clown, it's more like, yes, I'm feeling all of this that I'm showing you from a real place, but it's somehow, it doesn't have this weight of the
it needs to, yeah, there is a likeness to it because it's all rooted in play.
Yes, this game, I said game, but it's play.
I think a good phrase there is a clown should be childlike, but not childish.
Yes.
So they should play with the innocence and the vulnerability that a child plays with a big cardboard box, you know, and the child jumps in the cardboard box and it becomes everything they want it to be.
Yes.
You know? And there's never anything that's out of context. It's all going through a narrative that's happening in that child's imagination that we can watch from outside and delight in. But if we try to be childish, then everyone sees through it because it's an act again.
Yes, exactly.
So play like a child, but don't be childish.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it totally makes sense, and thank you. It's like the childlike, it's more like being with the curiosity, with like seeing everything as is the first time you see it, the innocence, as you said. And childish, I see it more like I'm pretending to be something that actually I am not, you know?
And to be honest, as a 17 stone, 6'2" man, to see childish to an audience is probably a little bit weird. But to see me playing and really being engaged in that game and that play, well, then it's heartwarming because there's an innocence, as you say. The child falls out of the cardboard box when they're pretending it's a submarine or whatever. They stand the cardboard box back up and get back in it. Whereas if it was an adult acting that and they fell out of the cardboard box, there's almost this, oh, I've failed, I've not completed the task. So we see the breakdown of the emotion and we lose all the play. We see oh, right, we didn't expect that. So yeah, I think the importance is to understand that failure is not a problem and failure is inevitable. And actually, through things that go wrong or things that change or are unpredicted, some of the most beautiful things can happen.
It's true, yes.
Because they're so organic and they're so of the moment.
And also is this that you said already, but I would like to stress on this, like there is no this fourth wall. You know, there is this like, okay, the audience is seated, the clown, the performer, the person clowning, it's on the stage, but we are all together on the same journey. There is no difference, I have found that. There is no audience, there is no clown. We are all together going into this emotional journey.
Yeah, I mean, there is no fourth wall. It is when an audience or the people who are coming to see the performance come into that space. What I'm hoping for as a clown is that we have an experience together. Mm-hmm. That they're not just sat there watching me going through the motions. And if they are, I'm doing something wrong as a clown because I need to touch them. I need to engage with them. I need to see them smile. I need to see them laugh. I need to see them react to each other.
Yes.
As well as to me. So yeah, it's this dreaded phrase that I use all the time, shared experience. The people in the seats and me up on the stage, and sometimes it even ends up the other way around where I'm in the seats and they're on the stage.
I'm sure this happens, yes. I just want to say to the guys, thank you so much for watching. If you have any question for Simon, just write them in the comments and I will read them out loud just before we finish. And he will answer or I will answer. So write your comments or write your questions, okay? Okay. Yes, I like this, what you are saying about shared experience. This is this is why I think the reason why I'm involved with, I am in love with contemporary clowns is about this, about how I become one with all my audience, you know, and how together we fit each other into this connection and this complicity and this this emotional journey, as you said, and how also my failures are not failures, are actually different ways.
They're just triggers to do something new.
Yes.
And often I use, especially in workshops, I use that idea of triggers for doing something new, and I call it clown rewards.
Okay.
So I play a game where we send the clown out of the room, and we have a mat with all kinds of random objects on it. And the rest of the workshop has to decide what the clown will do when he comes in the room.
Okay.
They come back in. No one's allowed to speak, and the clown must just play with the objects. When they start to do the right thing, we reward them with laughter. So eventually, the most random acts get completed because the clown suddenly realizes, yeah, this is the right thing to do, because they're buying into my play. They're enjoying my play. They're sharing my experiences. So when a clown's on stage, if that tumbleweed is blowing through the audience and everyone's itching their bum and moving around and looking at their watch, you're doing something wrong, you know.
Yeah, but imagine, because if you have many objects and the clown comes in, I am in the room and I don't know what I'm doing. No one is doing anything. No one is reacting. This sounds.
It sounds scary.
Yes.
Really, because what people do, they pick something up and they start to play, and you can get missed signals because sometimes the play is so good that we all start to laugh and enjoy it.
Yes, exactly.
Is that important? Yes. Because sometimes for a clown, it's not all about the objective. It's about the journey. Yes. It's about solving the problems.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So, you know, it's the journey where we engage. It's when we start to learn about them and we start to believe and we start to fall in love with them and we empathize and we just start to delight as an audience. That's when you're clowning. So yeah.
Oh, this is so beautiful. I'm sure they are like, oh. So what is your next project, or where our people that are watching us, where can they find you, or when is your next workshop, or are you performing? Tell us, where can we see you next?
Where can you see me next? I think the next workshop is early January in the UK. Not sure of the location yet, but it will probably be around Bristol area.
Okay.
I'm currently working on a new theatre piece, which it's a clown and mask adaptation of The Miller's Tale from Canterbury Tales by Chaucer. So it's an old medieval text, which is very naughty, very rude, about a miller who gets drunk and decides to tell an improper story with a group of other people as they make their way down to Canterbury. So I've took that inspiration and I've sort of created a clown character that is the miller.
Okay.
And we experience not the bit in Canterbury Tales, we experience his journey from home till he gets to London to spend this night where he gets drunk, and he eventually tells the story in a totally clown incorrect way. So the inspiration comes from Chaucer. It was a way to play with some old traditions in clown, things like elements of commedia dell'arte, elements of Mr. Punch from the puppets and the grotesque side. By picking quite a racy and a bawdy story, it allows me to play with the elements of bouffon that I like. And by using a narrative as a base, it gives me a storyline and a story arc that I could improvise around and play with. So yes, there's building blocks in the show, but the show will be different each night because it will depend on how the audience reacts, how various things happen. So that's in work at the moment. I think the initial showings of that will be around April time, and then it will tour for 12 months. So I'll be out and about. And on Facebook, it's Clown Noir, and the website's Clown Noir, so you can find out stuff there as well.
Okay, and do you have dates for your workshop in January, or not yet?
At the moment, the feelers have gone out for the 6th of January.
Okay.
So it's to clear the cobwebs after Christmas.
Yes. Okay, so people know that they can go to Clown Noir, but I put on the comments anyway. So Hunter was watching us and he said hello. Hunter Thompson.
Hello.
Jeremy Charles Home. Hello from California. Hello. Jeremy said, yes, it's an active point of view. This was in the beginning when we were talking about how by playing we change the way we think about failure. He mentioned this, and that's it. We don't have more questions. We don't have more comments. If you have comments, even if you are watching the replay, you can write your comments, and Simon or myself will answer to your doubts or whatever you want to tell us about clown. Simon, thank you so much. It has been very inspiring to have you. Sorry?
A great chat, yeah.
Yes, very, very inspiring. I made my notes. Look, my notes from our chat. So I'm gonna keep them. I like very much. I feel like our views of clowning are very similar. So it's very, very nice for me to chat with you. It has been very inspiring, and I hope for our audience is also inspiring. Yes.
Great stuff.
So thank you. I'm wishing you all the best with your rehearsals and in your workshop in January. Yes, and in your 1-year tour.
Yeah. Hopefully I'll be in Scotland. So.
Yes. Oh, Hunter said, how after. We have a question. Hunter Thompson. Hello, Hunter.
Hello.
How after you find clown, how do you start, compose a piece of a show?
Right. Oh.
That's
it all depends really about what I'm writing for. I tend to initially find ideas, so things that I really just strike a chord with me, something that is an idea. Sometimes it's pieces of music, sometimes it can be an instrument that I can play, sometimes it's even just a certain phrase or some words that come together.
Yes.
And what I usually do is go into the studio and just play. Just try to have sheets of paper on the floor, make notes, move around, and start to build ideas. Do the ideas come together? And normally I try to work for about 5 or 10 minutes piece of clowning, which I can drop into maybe street entertainment, or I can do a showing, or I can do it a scratch night.
Okay.
And I get a sense for how it's working. And for me, I work really about what delights me. If that really delighted me and made me play and made me forget that I'm actually sitting here and writing a show, and 35 minutes later I've been doing something, to me that's a signal that this is potentially the good stuff.
Yes, and it's working. It shows that it's working.
I do, when I go into the studio, I always have a little camera that I put on a very small tripod. So I don't really see it in the room when I'm working in a video. And then I really, really watch a lot of those videos back and go, that section of movement was delightful, or that was nice. And then I start to stitch it together like a cobbler. And as I say, I tend to work in like almost stepping stones. I don't try to write a whole script. I have sort of points along the journey, and then there's bits missing between, and that's where I rely on, can I connect with an audience? Can I pull them in? And then, so the show has a structure, but it does have an organic nature. Yes. When I get